Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Josh Morgan again from Organic Approach. Many of you have already heard us a lot of times talk about our product, HyphaLink Nourish. We're going to actually do a bit of a series on it because we've picked up on the fact that not everybody understands exactly what it is. So we're going to go into a little bit of depth with an introduction here, and then further videos in this series are going to compartmentalize how different industry professionals use this product so that you don't have to see so much of myself and my father, and you can actually see how other people in the green industry use this product to great success out in the real world throughout the growing season. HyphaLink Nourish has been in production for, like I said, a number of years, but over the course of that time, it has really adapted and changed. We've added things, we've tweaked some things. We started with one formulation, we've now branched out into 3, and this is our HyphaLink Nourish All-Natural. This is probably like the most common one that you would reach for outside of the different variants of this product that we have. But we also have HyphaLink Nourish FE, which is with iron, and we also have HyphaLink Nourish CO, which is certified organic and is obviously certified for use on organic farms and anybody else who has those kind of restrictions on them, for lack of a better word. So what is HyphaLink Nourish? Well, to make it simple, it's a biostimulant, but at the same time it's not. It's so much more. Nourish, simply put, is a very complex whole food supplement comprised of many highly concentrated and bioavailable organic and all-natural ingredients designed specifically to target all aspects of plant and soil vitality. The broader industry may describe HyphaLink Nourish as a biostimulant, but we at Organic Approach find that definition to be somewhat incomplete, as this product punches well above its weight class in those categories. HyphaLink Nourish is a powerful biological soil and plant supplement and stress reducer. The product is 100% soluble, which we will be demonstrating here shortly, and we might even take it out into the backyard to water in a little tree. Nourish essentially speaks to all of the most fundamental and basic life processes of plants in regard to its direct effects to plant tissues, cells, metabolism, and energy, while also simultaneously remediating and building soil health with biology and complex organic inputs. Now, Nourish, if it were to be compared to something else that we might have on the shelf at Organic Approach that you may have been familiar with for a number of years now, would probably be our Influence product. So Influence is a liquid concentrate, and Influence is a very good product, and for probably a decade of my professional tree care career, Influence was the backbone of all of the tank mixes that I took out into the field on a daily basis. Now, there's a couple problems that Influence has that Nourish solves. Influence still very much has a place in the industry. When you reach for a liquid concentrate, you have a little bit easier mixing sometimes. If you're doing very high volume applications, then it may very much well make sense to just get a liquid concentrate, whether you need a 55-gallon drum or a 275-gallon tote, and go. I get that. However, the shelf life is not indefinite with a product like Influence, because when you take all of these highly biological, highly complex, and highly valuable organic and all-natural inputs, and you hydrate them, the clock starts ticking. If the clock starts ticking and you don't use all your material within the allotted time frame that you have before that product goes bad on you, then you can potentially grow some things that you don't want to grow in your own mix. So that's one problem that Nourish solves, is shelf life. Nourish in its powdered form, this is a 2-pound bag. Okay, now 2 pounds of this makes 100 gallons of spray mix. Nourish in its powdered form has an indefinite shelf life. You can buy it, you can put it on a shelf in your garage, and you can pull it out in a decade, and you can use it the same way that you would the day that you bought it, as long as you don't get it wet. It solves a second problem as well, which is freight sensitivity. Influence had a really, really good following in a local market or in people that had better freight logistics figured out or didn't mind paying for them. Now, if you live in California and you have a small garden, or if you have a boutique plant healthcare operation, or if you're a cannabis grower, a greenhouse grower, anything like that, and you want a little bit less, but you don't want to pay $75 to ship a case across the country, USPS flat rate, right here. So what Nourish really is at the end of the day is it's a biostimulant similar to Influence. It's not a liquid concentrate, it's a powder. Because it's a powder and because it's unhydrated, we can actually put some more things into this package that we wouldn't be able to put into Influence because it might go too biological or become unstable. And you get cheaper shipping, you get indefinite shelf life, and you get a DIY liquid concentrate that you can make yourself, whether you have high-level spray equipment and agitation, or whether you have a watering can and a little jar of water. So again, the general use rate for Nourish is going to be 2 teaspoons per gallon of mix. That's for a lot of things. It could vary a little bit depending on what you're doing with it and how much volume you intend to apply with your given application. We're going to use a lot more than 2 teaspoons per 1 gallon just to dramatize this and make a point regarding the solubility and the handleability of the product. So I have here for my kitchen what I would believe is a tablespoon, and I'm gonna get a heaping tablespoon. So this is probably not 2 teaspoons, this is probably 4 or 5 at least. And if you zoom in on this, Sam, you can see that begin to precipitate down. And again, this is a 2 to 3 times rate of what would be in a gallon of water. And we have far less than a gallon of volume here. And with just a small stir, you have now a liquid concentrate. Now, when we go and we put this in the watering can, I'm gonna dump it in, I'm gonna top it up with a little bit of well water, probably end up with a 2-gallon watering can. So my rate might still be a little bit high, but it's not gonna be too far off my mark, and I know what I'm doing with it, so it's well and good. All right, so I told you that we would take the liquid concentrate that we made up and use it, so there you go. I just filled that up with water. Since I already had a liquid concentrate, I don't need to fuss. I don't always do that. That's not a necessary step in using Nourish. Like if you're using a hand-drench, it can go right into the can, ideally on a couple inches of water, and then just hose fill on top of it. That's what I do most often. So we're here with my little Giant Sequoia. It's not so giant yet. This is my Sequoia dendron giganteum. I grew this from a 2-inch plug that was shipped to me from somewhere in the Pacific Northwest. And I just planted it 2 years ago. Last winter, I winterized it. I put burlap around it. I filled it up with leaves on the bottom. I insulated it very well against the winter cold and wind. This year I intentionally did not, because if this tree is gonna live here, it has to feel the stress. And I apologize for the noise of the road. We're right next to a very busy road right now where I planted this tree. But this tree has a good bit of winter kill on it this year. It's not beyond saving. This is, in my opinion, considering how I've tortured it, it's in rather good shape. But none of us are perfect, so we're gonna take Nourish and nothing but Nourish, because we might still have some cold temperatures left yet before we break into spring for real, even though it's March 21st today. And we should timestamp that, by the way, so that maybe we can get a photo of this tree in a week or two and see if it's changed. But we're just gonna do a simple hand drench. And I don't have my shower head on. If I were only doing foliar work, maybe I would prefer that. So I'm gonna kind of aim a little bit for the basal flare. I'm gonna work the whole way around. And the reason is because there's a bit of mulch around this tree, and I don't want to tie my material up and have it bind to the mulch. I want it to be able to perk down as much as it possibly can. And I can do a little foliar. It's not growing too actively right now, but it sure will be soon. And so my rate, once I diluted it into 2 gallons of water, was not all that extreme. It was not very far off of that 2 teaspoon per gallon mark. It was, maybe it was 3 teaspoon per gallon max, but I don't even think that. So we'll see how she does.